Biometrics uses a physical feature, such as a fingerprint, for authentication. Biometric systems use a two-step process. In the first step, users are registered in the authentication system. For example, an authentication system first captures a user's fingerprint and associates it with a user's identity. Then, when users want to access the system, they use their fingerprints to prove their identity. There are many types of biometrics, including fingerprint scanner. Many laptops are equipped with fingerprint scanners or fingerprint readers, and these are also common in tablet devices and smartphones. Similarly, some USB flash drives contain a fingerprint scanner. They can even store multiple fingerprints of 3 or 4 people to share access to the same USB drive. Law enforcement agencies have been using fingerprints for decades, but they are using them for identification, not biometric authentication. Retina scanners. Retina scanners scan the retinas of one or both eyes and use the blood vessel model at the back of the eye for recognition. Some people object to the use of these browsers for authentication, as they can identify medical problems and typically require physical contact with a scanner. Iris scanner. Iris scanners use camera technology to capture patterns of the iris around the pupil for recognition. They're used in many border crossings without passports around the world. They can take pictures from about 3 to 10 inches away, avoiding any physical contact. Voice recognition. Voice recognition methods determine who is speaking using speech recognition methods to identify different acoustic characteristics. A person's voice differs from the other person's voice due to differences in their mouth and throat and behavior patterns that affect their speaking style. For example, Apple's Siri supports voice recognition. After installing, Siri will only respond to the owner's voice. Unfortunately, this prevents the old party trick when someone shouts, "Hey Siri," at a party with multiple people's iPhones. Face recognition. Face recognition systems identify people based on their facial features. This includes the size of their face compared to the rest of their body, and the size, shape, and position of their eyes, nose, mouth, cheekbones, and jaw. One disadvantage of this is that it is sometimes adversely affected by changes in lighting. Microsoft Windows System supports Windows Hello Facial Recognition Services. It uses infrared, or IR, to avoid the hassle of normal lighting, and can work in a variety of lighting conditions. Biometrics can be very precise when technology is applied correctly. However, it is possible for a biometric manufacturer to use shortcuts and not implementing it correctly, causing false readings. 2 biometric false readings. False acceptance. This is when the biometric system mistakenly identifies an unauthorized user who is an authorized user. The false acceptance rate, or FAR, also known as the mismatch rate, defines the percentage of times that false acceptance occurs. False rejection. This is when a biometric system incorrectly rejects an authorized user. False rejection rate, FRR, also known as mismatch rate, defines the percentage of false reject incidents. Accurate readings happen when the biometric system correctly accepts or rejects a user. For example of true acceptance is when the biometric system accurately determines a positive match. Conversely, true rejection occurs when the biometric system correctly identifies a mismatch. Biometric systems allow you to adjust the sensitivity or threshold level where errors occur. It decreases the number of mismatches by increasing sensitivity and increases the number of false rejects. Conversely, decreasing sensitivity increases mismatches and reduces false rejections. You can determine the effectiveness of a biometric system by plotting the FAR and FRR ratios using different sensitivities. CER is the point where FAR intersects FRR. A lower CER indicates that the biometric system is more accurate. For example, the system shown in solid lines in the figure is more accurate than the system shown in dotted lines. If you are located somewhere, where you are, the authentication factor defines a user's location. Geolocation is a group of technologies used to determine a user's location and is the most common method used in this factor. Most authentication systems use Internet Protocol or IP addresses for geolocation. The IP address provides information about the country, region, state, city, and sometimes even the postal code. For example, once I had an incident related to my bank account. My internet banking account was compromised, but I didn't realize that. My account was protected by the security system of the bank I used, and I was notified by email and SMS. I was constantly logging in with a UK IP address. The person who took over my account tried to log in from Russia. The bank noticed this, blocked its access, and then sent me an email stating that someone from Russia was trying to log in. It's worth noting that using an IP address for geolocation is not flawless. There are many VPN, virtual private network IP address changers available online. For example, a user in Russia can use one of these services in the United States to access a website. The website will recognize the IP address of the VPN service, but not the IP address of the user in Russia. Within an organization, it's possible to use the system's computer name or media access control, MAC address, for a place where you're a factor. For example, in a Microsoft Active Directory domain, you can configure accounts so that users only log into the network from a specific computer. If they are not on the computer in question, the system prevents them from logging in.